I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here telling a story like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I want to get this all off my chest because maybe someone out there has gone through something similar, or at least can tell me I'm not losing my mind. So, a little background. I met Emily about 3 years ago. She was smart, funny, and honestly kind of a bitch sometimes, but that's what I liked about her. She had this fire, this attitude that made her stand out. We clicked pretty fast, and I thought we were destined for something real. We got engaged about a year ago, and everything seemed perfect. She was working at a pretty big firm, but I never really worried about her cheating. I mean, she's gorgeous, and she's always had tons of guys hitting on her, but she was loyal, right? Or so I thought. Our relationship was rocky sometimes, sure, but she always promised she was faithful, especially when she'd flirt a little too much with her boss, Jake. She'd say he was just a mentor, just a work friend, and I believed her because she was good at lying, or maybe I wanted to believe her. But then a few days ago, everything fell apart. I was away on a business trip, just a quick overnight thing, and everything changed in that one moment. I was messing around on her phone, honestly just trying to kill time, and I saw a message icon pop up. It was from Jake. The message was just a picture, a pretty revealing one, honestly. It was Emily, topless, lying on their hotel bed. The caption was something like, "Can't wait to see you tonight," and I swear my stomach dropped. I stared at it in disbelief. My wife, the girl I trusted with everything, was cheating on me, with her boss, at our company. I didn't even know what to think at first. I thought maybe it was some kind of sick joke or a scam, but the photo was real, clear as day. She sent it to him. My mind went into overdrive. I kept staring at that phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept scrolling through her messages, and there was more. A whole string of pictures and texts, all suggesting they'd been doing this for weeks, maybe longer. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't just some fling, this was her secret life. It was like I'd been blind the entire time, walking around with a smile on my face, oblivious. I was furious, hurt, and more than anything, betrayed. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew us. But it turns out I was just another fool who thought her innocent lies were just that, lies. No, she's been lying to me from the start. All those late nights, the excuses she made about work things, the nervous attitude when she'd get a message. I think I always knew deep down something was off, but I didn't want to face it. I refused to believe she'd cheat on me before our wedding, especially not with her boss who's got that arrogant smirk and a body to match. I confronted her the next morning. I was trembling, trying to hold it together. I showed her the photos and her reaction. Total bitchy denial. She said I was jealous, that I was making things up, that I was insane for accusing her of cheating. She said stuff like, "It's just sex, Mike. It doesn't mean anything. Jake's just a friend and you're overreacting." She tried to gaslight me, make it seem like I was the crazy one, but I was. I knew what I saw. I told her I wanted the truth, and she just kept lying, twisting everything around, calling me insecure, saying I was jealous because I was afraid of losing her. That moment, I felt my world shatter. I couldn't believe she was capable of this. How could she lie to my face, pretend everything was fine? All those years, all those promises she made about being faithful, and it was just bullshit. I was so angry I didn't know what to do. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something. But mostly I just wanted her to admit it, to look me in the eye and say she'd been screwing her boss all along. Instead, she kept up the act, acting like I was crazy for even questioning her. Since that day, I've been stuck in this nightmare. I keep replaying everything in my head. I feel like I'm walking around in a fog, trying to figure out whether I should forgive her, fight for her, or just cut her out of my life completely. But I know one thing: I'm not going to let her get away with this. She's not just a cheating wife. She's a liar, a manipulator, and she's shattered whatever trust I had left. I don't know what's coming next, but I do know I don't deserve this kind of betrayal. After I saw those photos, everything changed. I couldn't just pretend it wasn't real. I didn't sleep that night, and the next morning I was a mess. I couldn't even look at her without feeling this mix of anger and disgust. I wasn't even sure how to talk to her anymore. Part of me wanted to explode, to yell and accuse her of everything, but I knew that wouldn't get me anywhere. So I sat her down, trying to keep my voice steady, and I asked her to tell me the truth. I wanted her to admit it outright. No more lies, no more bullshit. She looked at me with that smirk, that "I'm better than you" attitude she always had. And then she started to lie. She said she didn't send any photos, that I must be mistaken. She claimed it was a prank or maybe someone hacked her phone. She said she was just friends with Jake, that they were just talking about work. I was so furious I couldn't even speak. I just stared at her, waiting for her to crack, to show some sign of remorse. Instead, she kept lying, twisting her words, trying to make me doubt what I saw. I knew she was lying, though. I could see right through it. Her voice was a little too shaky, her eyes darted around, and her stories kept changing. That's when I really started to get angry. How could she sit there and lie straight to my face after I saw what I saw? It was like she was daring me to confront her, testing how far she could push me before I broke. I felt this cold fire inside me, burning with rage. I wanted to shake her, to scream at her, to make her understand how much she had hurt me, but I didn't. Instead, I told her I was done. I told her I wasn't going to sit around and be played for a fool. That was the moment I realized I had to make a decision. I told her I needed some space, that I couldn't be around her right now. She tried to act like it was no big deal, like I was overreacting, like she hadn't done anything wrong. But I knew better. I knew I'd be carrying this pain with me for a long time. I told her I was going to think it all over, that I needed to clear my head. That night, I stayed awake, trying to understand what I'd just learned. I kept asking myself how she could do this, how she could lie so easily after everything. Was she really that manipulative? Did she ever love me at all? Or was I just another fool who believed her? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photos, her lying there, smiling as if she didn't have a care in the world. That image haunted me. I wondered if she ever felt guilty, or if she was just making excuses, pretending it was all harmless fun. The most painful part is how she kept trying to gaslight me afterward. She kept saying I was overreacting, that I was insecure. She called me a jealous psycho, said I was accusing her of something she didn't do. She even had the nerve to say I was the one cheating on her just because I was suspicious. That made it worse. It's like she was flipping the script, making herself out to be the victim. She's a master manipulator, that one. I could see through her bullshit, but it still cut deep. She's a good liar, and I was starting to see how easy it was for her to deceive everyone. The thing is, I wasn't even sure what I felt anymore. Disbelief, betrayal, sadness, all of it at once. I had loved her, I had believed in us. And now I was faced with this brutal truth: she'd been screwing her boss and lying about it all along. That's the kind of pain that sticks with you. It's like your whole world just crumbles in an instant. I was angry at myself for not seeing it sooner, angry at her for doing this, and angry that I still cared even after everything I'd found out. I felt so lost, so broken. I knew I had to figure out what to do next, but right then I was just trying to survive the shock. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't focus on anything except the betrayal I'd uncovered. Every time I tried to pretend I was okay, it hit me again. Her lies, her betrayal, the images burned into my mind. I started questioning everything about our relationship. Was she always like this? Did she ever really love me, or was I just someone to keep around while she chased her fantasies with Jake? The worst part was feeling so stupid for trusting her in the first place. I kept thinking about all the little signs I missed: her secretive texts, her nervousness when she got calls, the way she avoided certain questions. I'd always brushed it off because I loved her and wanted to believe the best. One night, I decided I couldn't keep it inside anymore. I needed to confront her again, get some answers I knew she wouldn't want to give. I called her at her apartment, and she answered like nothing had happened. I told her I needed to see her face to face. When she finally showed up at my place the next evening, she had that sneering attitude, like she already knew she'd won. She tried her usual act, acting like I was blowing things out of proportion, like I was crazy, but I was. I just wanted her to admit it just once. She sat on the couch with her arms crossed, smirking at me. I felt my blood boil. I asked her flat out if she'd been sleeping with Jake. She looked at me with that dismissive look she always had, then said, "Mike, you're overreacting. It's just sex, and honestly, I don't see what the big deal is. Jake, just my boss. It's not like I love him or anything. It's just sex to blow off steam." That's when I lost it. I shot back, "You're lying. I saw the photos. You sent them to him. How could you lie so easily? Did you ever love me at all?" She rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Stop being such a drama queen. You're insecure. I told you from the start I wasn't some perfect wife. Jake's hot, yeah, but it's not like I'm leaving you for him. It's just sex. Nothing more. You really think I'd throw away everything we had for a fling?" Her words felt like knives. I could see the smirk she had, the way she was trying to make me doubt myself. But I knew better. I knew what I saw, and I knew she was lying. She always did. At that moment, I realized I had a choice. I could keep playing her game, or I could finally stand up for myself. I told her I was done with her lies, that I couldn't trust her anymore. I told her I was going to leave her, and that's when she snapped. Her tone turned bitchy and cold. She said, "Fine. If you want to be that way, go ahead, but you're just wasting your time. Jake and I are done talking about this. You're just jealous because I don't want someone like you anymore. Honestly, you're boring and I deserve better." She looked at me like I was the one in the wrong. That was the moment I realized she was a master manipulator. I'd been played like a damn fool. Honestly, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. All the pain and anger from before turned into this deep, aching sadness. I loved her, and she'd just thrown it all away with her lies and her selfishness. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her how much she hurt me, but I just sat there, speechless. I knew at that point I couldn't stay. I told her I was leaving, that I didn't want to see or hear from her again until she was ready to be honest. She rolled her eyes and said, "Whatever, Mike. You're just overreacting. You'll get over it." But I knew I wouldn't. Not ever. That night I packed some clothes and left. The house felt cold and empty without her. I kept replaying the confrontation over and over in my head, trying to understand how someone I loved could do this to me. It's not just the cheating, it's the lies, the deception, the betrayal of everything I thought we had. I kept thinking about what I could have done differently, but honestly, I know I don't deserve this kind of betrayal. I've been naive, maybe, but I was also too trusting. Now I just feel broken, like I've lost part of myself to her selfishness. It's going to take a long time to heal from this, if I ever do. The next few weeks were a hell of a ride. I stayed with a buddy for a while, just trying to get some space from the house, from her, from everything that reminded me of how badly I'd been played. Honestly, I kept going over everything in my head, every sign I ignored, every little red flag I dismissed. I wanted to believe I was stupid for not seeing it sooner, but deep down I knew I was. I just didn't want to believe the girl I loved could be so damn dishonest, so manipulative. It hit me hard that she'd been lying to my face for who knows how long, and I was just blind to it. I started to feel a lot of different emotions, anger mostly, but also sadness, humiliation, and a kind of emptiness that I can't really put into words. Every time I thought about her, I'd get this sick feeling in my stomach. How could she do this? To me? To us? The worst part was realizing she had no remorse, no guilt. She just kept acting like she was the victim, like I was the one who messed up. That made me furious. I wanted to call her, yell at her, tell her what a terrible person she'd become. But I knew that wouldn't solve anything. I needed time to think, to process. One night I decided to look at her social media, something I'd avoided for weeks. I don't even know what I was expecting, but there it was. A post she made, smiling with her friends, captioned, "Living my best life." Like she hadn't just betrayed her marriage, like she wasn't out screwing her boss. It made me sick. I wanted to yell at her through the screen, to tell her she was a selfish bitch, but I didn't. Instead, I realized I had to start making some decisions. I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo forever. I had to decide whether I was going to fight for her or cut her out completely. Honestly, I was leaning toward just walking away for good. Every day that I stayed, I felt more like a fool. The betrayal ran so deep that I couldn't see a way back from it. But part of me still wondered if there was any hope of fixing this, of somehow rebuilding trust. I mean, maybe she was just caught up in a moment of weakness. Yeah, I know that's a stretch, but I kept telling myself maybe she'd realize what she lost. I reached out to a lawyer that week, just to get a sense of what my options were. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about divorce right away. I just wanted to know what my rights were, what I'd be facing if I decided to cut her loose. It was a brutal conversation. The lawyer laid out the facts clearly: division of assets, maybe even custody if we had kids someday, and the emotional toll of going through a divorce. I felt like I was being hit with a ton of bricks, but even as I listened, I knew deep down I was done. I couldn't see myself staying married to someone who lied to me like that, who used me as a fool. That same night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the ceiling. I felt numb but also a strange sense of clarity. I realized I'd spent so much time trying to fix something that was already broken. I'd been holding on to hope that she'd change, that she'd realize she messed up, but I was fooling myself. Some people aren't worth fighting for, and she was one of them. I started to think about my future, what I wanted, what I deserved. I knew I'd been so focused on making her happy that I forgot about myself. Now I was finally starting to understand that I needed to be selfish for once. I needed to do what was best for me. The hardest part is I still care. I still love her in some twisted way, even after all the crap she pulled. That's what hurts the most, the fact that I still want her to be the person I thought she was, but reality is harsh. I can't change what she did, and I can't pretend it didn't happen. I have to accept that she chose her own selfish desires over us, over me. I'll never forget those photos, that betrayal. They'll haunt me forever, I think. But I also know I can't keep living in this pain. So I made a decision. I'm done trying to fix something that can't be fixed. It's time to move on, even if it kills me to do it. The decision to move on wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I spent days feeling like I was stuck in quicksand, trying to find a reason to stay, to forgive, to believe she'd somehow change. But every time I thought about her lying, cheating, and then acting like I was the crazy one, I knew deep down I couldn't stay. I started packing up my stuff, little by little, trying to reclaim some sense of control. And honestly, I felt a strange mix of relief and heartbreak at the same time. When I finally sat her down to tell her I was leaving for good, she didn't even look surprised. She just shrugged and said, "Whatever, Mike. You're making a huge mistake, but go ahead." That's when I realized just how much she didn't care about us, about me. She played the victim one last time, like I was the bad guy for wanting to end things. But I wasn't the one who cheated, lied, and humiliated me in front of everyone. I was just the guy who finally saw through her bullshit. Leaving her was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I felt like I was ripping my own heart out, but I knew I had to do it. I had to prioritize myself for once. I went no contact after that, blocking her social media, deleting her number, cutting out every reminder of what we'd lost. It hurt like hell, but I couldn't keep giving her space in my mind. I knew her manipulation and lies had taken enough from me already. In the days that followed, I started to rebuild. I leaned on my friends, the ones who told me I deserved better, who reminded me I wasn't the fool in all this. I went back to work, threw myself into projects I'd neglected, and tried to focus on myself. Slowly, I felt the numbness give way to a kind of clarity. I didn't want to be that guy haunted by betrayal forever. I wanted to find some peace, some way to move past her lies and her betrayal. Part of me still feels like a sucker. I keep asking myself why I didn't see it all sooner, why I let her manipulate me for so long. But I also know I'm not the same person I was before. The experience changed me, made me more cautious but also more aware of what I deserve. I realize now that love isn't enough if it's built on lies. Trust is everything, and once that's broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. I don't hold any resentment, just a deep sense of loss for the time I wasted on someone who never really cared. What I learned from all this: never ignore the signs. Don't be afraid to walk away from a relationship that's hurting you more than it's helping you. And most importantly, don't be stupid enough to believe someone's promises when their actions scream otherwise. I trusted her, and she betrayed that trust in the worst way possible. But I'm slowly getting back on my feet. It's going to take some time, but I know I'll be okay. Maybe even better than okay someday. For now, I just want to stop feeling this ache inside, this sense that I was disposable. Because I was. I never was. It's been a few months now since I walked away, and honestly, some days still feel like walking through a fog. There are moments when I wake up and memories hit me hard. Her smiling, the betrayal, the way she looked at me like I was nothing. But those moments are getting fewer and farther between. The pain is still there, but it's softer, more manageable. I've started to rebuild my life piece by piece, focusing on myself and what I really want out of it. I've learned a lot from all of this. Mostly, I've learned to trust myself more, to listen to that little voice inside that warns me when something's wrong. I used to ignore red flags, brush things off because I didn't want to believe the worst about her. But now I see clearly. You can't always see the truth when you're blinded by love, but eventually the truth finds a way to come out. And when it does, it's better to face it head on than to keep living in denial. Looking back, I realized she was never the person I thought she was. That girl who once smiled at me and said she loved me was just a mask. Beneath it was someone selfish, manipulative, and willing to ruin what we had for her own pleasure. I don't blame myself for not seeing it sooner. I blame her for being a liar, for playing me all along. And honestly, I feel a strange sense of relief. I don't have to second-guess myself anymore. I'm free from her games, her manipulations. I've started dating again, not seriously yet, but enough to remember that life still has good things ahead. I want to find someone who values honesty, loyalty, and respect. Someone who doesn't treat love like a game. It's tempting to think I'll never trust again, but I know better. Trust is something you build slowly, and I'll be cautious, yes, but I won't let this experience turn me into someone closed off forever. Most of all, I want to share this story as a lesson. If you're ever in a relationship and you start noticing signs of betrayal, secretive texts, nervousness, lies, don't ignore them. Confront it early. Don't let someone manipulate you into thinking you're crazy. Because if she's willing to hide things, cheat behind your back, and lie to your face, then she isn't worth your time or your love. You deserve better, always. I might never fully forget what happened, but I will move forward. I'll find happiness again, even if it's hard to believe right now. That's what I hold on to, the hope that someday I'll look back at this chapter and realize it was just a painful part of my story that made me stronger. I trust myself enough now to say I'll never let someone like her do this to me again. I'm done being a fool. I'm done feeling shattered, and I'm finally ready to heal.